Hi everybody, welcome back. We're in the chicken house today. We have no chickens, so we've sold. We started selling, when was it? Tuesday? No, Monday night. Sold Monday night, Tuesday morning, and finished up yesterday morning. So we were out of chickens. It's time to start the cleanup process. First thing we have to do is we have to take these fan cages off. What these fan cages are for is because on these houses we have butterfly shutters on these tunnel fans. These are butterfly shutters. So you have one side here, come to the other side, you have a side here that swings open, just like butterfly wings. That's why they're called butterfly shutters. This comes in place of the aluminum shutters that a lot of farms use. I think these butterfly shutters seal off better than the aluminum ones do. We have the aluminum ones on our exhaust fans. So I'm sure you've seen those before if you've seen the fan washing videos. But the reason why these cages are on here, this is actually a OSHA thing. Cage sticks out probably, say 14, 16 inches, maybe 18 inches off the wall. But what this is for is to keep people from falling into the fan. If you're in here, you trip, you fall into the fan, you're not going to come out of it if the fan's on. Say the water line right here, right over there, right there. If you, we've talked about the shocker wire before. If you were to hang your foot on that shocker wire coming toward this fan, you fall into that fan. If it's running, you're not coming out of it. That's just a fact. So that's why these cages are here. And they do stick out about that far, which does get in the way if you're not extremely careful, and I'm not usually extremely careful. But I used to leave them on, and I've wadded up a few of them with a windrower. Sorry, that fan's coming on now. I've wadded up a few of them with a windrower, and they're not cheap. They're $50-$60 a piece. So it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to take them off, and it seems to me it's cheaper to take them off than it is to have to replace them. So let me get these taken off, and then we will get the decaker hooked up to the tractor, and we'll take a look at that. All right, we got all the fan cages off. Now let's talk about some equipment. Here we are. This is the tractor we're going to use today. This is a Kubota M6800. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 1999 model. I bought it from my in-laws. Well, I guess I should say we bought it from my in-laws. Pretty good old tractor. It's got about 2,500 hours on it. One day we're going to have to replace it, I'm afraid, but for right now, still doing good. This one's actually been modified a little bit. These rear tires, actually all four tires, the wheels are about 4 inches smaller than stock because my father-in-law is 6'9", off 6'10", and his chicken houses had very short sidewalls. I think the sidewall was like a 7-foot wall, so he could scrape his head on the ceiling as he walked through. Well, when you get on the tractor and start going through there, you get pretty close to the ceiling. So he had them put, instead of 24-inch wheels on the back and 28-inch on the back and 24 in the front, he had them put 24 and 20, which got him about 4 more inches worth of clearance. So this one, it looks a little funny compared to other M6800s, but it's been a fine tractor. And now, here's the caker. Now this is a KMC 4200 LP. The LP stands for low profile. Back here you can see it. This is what people call a house cleaner, or a decaker, or a caking machine, or several other names for them. But basically the way it works is you have this plate right here. This is the blade that goes on the ground, picks up cake litter. Cake litter runs through this beater. As it goes through the beater and gets chopped up into smaller pieces, it comes to this. This is an elevator chain. This chain is running up this way, bringing cake up. And you can see this grate underneath. There's about a 3/4 inch gap in here, 5/8 to 3/4. And anything small enough to go through that gap falls back to a plate underneath and goes back to the floor. That way you just pick up the stuff that's big enough to go through the grate, and you're not picking up everything off the floor. We have what they call a total clean out kit for this one, and we may wind up using that this time depending on how much litter we have. But it's a plate that covers this grate up, and then when you pull through the chicken house, you pick up everything. That is a dusty and nasty process, but it is required sometimes. Anyway, we run this elevator chain, litter goes up and falls into this bed. Now this is a drag chain. There's the end of the elevator chain. It comes over the top and piles in there, and this drag chain takes it to the front of the machine first. There's actually quite a bit of bed up in front of that elevator chain. So this drag chain runs that direction first, and then once that's full, the direction of the drag chain that runs on the top will run this direction to push it to the front, and then the bottom runs back this direction to pull it back this way. So as the litter comes off the elevator chain, the bottom of this drag chain pulls it back this way. And while we're on the tractor, what we're actually looking at is this right here. This is the end of the elevator chain. You're gonna be sitting right about there on the tractor. Actually right up there. Sorry, I can't see where I'm pointing, and but I'm watching right here. And you watch for litter cakes to start popping up back here. When it's popping up back here, you're full, you better stop. It's time to go unload. So let me get this thing greased and oiled and ready to go, and we'll get in the chicken house, and I'll show you a little better what I'm talking about, how the whole process works and what cake litter actually is. And then we'll get a few loads out, and we'll show you that. All right, we've made it into the chicken house. I hope you guys can hear me. I got 4 tunnel fans going over here, and I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I hope you can. We've made it to the back of the house, backed into the wall. Not into the wall, but next to the wall. So this is what we're looking at. This right here is cake. This is cake litter. Chunks like this. This is like this. You see it just kind of films over the floor. What this is litter that's soaked up as much moisture as it can. It's soaked up urine, it's soaked up poop, it's soaked up water, humidity in the air, all these things, and it's just not going to soak up any more liquid. And you can grind it up and it'll dry out some, and you can reuse it, and it'll do a fair job, but I just don't like to, so we take it out. What we're looking for, this right here is dry litter. There's a little bit of cake in it, not very much at all, but you see, when you take this off the top, and you see this is the material that we have down in there. This is an excellent absorbing material. This is what we use on the floor of the chicken house. We have to have at least 4 inches of this as a base when we start growing, and I think we've actually got like 6 or 7 inches in here. It builds up over time. But let me get on the tractor, let me get my dust mask on, and we'll see how much of this we can get in one load. And we've made it back to the stack house. I've got to play, kind of have to play fruit basket turnover with the truck and the loader so I can get them out of the way and get this backed in. Here's what a full caker load looks like. See, it's packed pretty well to the gills. I didn't get it all. We got an empty corner over there. I was a little too close to the wall. Right against the wall, we don't have as much cake, so you don't pick up as much on that side of the machine. That side of the machine doesn't get full, but it's close enough. What we're gonna do, quick as I get the loader and the truck out of the way, we're gonna back the caker all the way into the corner there, and we'll unload. This is a drag chain model, a bed chain model, whatever you want to call it. Has a drag chain right here, and when you switch the lever to unload, this tailgate will raise up. It'll come out to about right about here, I guess. I can't see where I've got my hand. There it is. It'll come out to about here, and that drag chain will run and unload the caker. We have this model. We don't have a dump because we do have the spinners for the back of this machine. This is the way my father-in-law bought it, and we've actually had to use this thing before to spread with. When you get to a point where it's the wet part of the year and you can't get a truck into a pasture just because you don't have the traction, then this actually works very well as a way to spread your litter. You pull with the tractor, better traction, you have more weight on the caker, you can unload just as fast. It'll throw almost as far as the truck. You can't haul as much as the truck will, so it's more loads, but it can be done. If you're in a pinch, it can get you out of it. It can get you out of a bind when you need it to. So we'll let the truck build up some air pressure, and I'll get it moved, and let the loader warm up for just a minute, and then we'll get it moved, and we'll get backed in, and we'll unload and show you how we do that. All right, here we go. Got to get backed in here and see if we can keep from tearing anything up. Now the next thing I do, see how high the front blade is. I let that all the way down right above the concrete. That way, that raises the back of the machine higher so that we can get more off in one pile. I'll watch right back here, right here in the tank, and you can see the litter moving. If you see the litter stop moving, that means the pile's big enough behind you that you need to pull up. Once you pull up, you'll see it start moving again. We're going to get off for this one. I'm going to get the unloader started, and let's hop down here and show you what that looks like from the back. This thing is controlled by this lever. You pull it forward, that runs the beater, the elevator chain, and the drag chain on top, which moves the litter back and forth we talked about earlier. When you push back, that runs the drag chain on the floor, so floor chain, and that's what causes it to unload. It is very possible, if you're not careful, when you turn it off, you push too far and you start unloading as you come out of the house, and that really makes a mess. It's not one you want to clean up. So you learn pretty soon how to be careful with this thing. But here we go. So we're unloading. Sounds a little rough, needs a little work, but here it is. I wish this thing was capable of smell-o-vision. It's it smells like money, but sometimes money smells pretty tough. Let me pull up a little bit and let this finish out. We'll go back in the chicken house, get ready for another load. take a look at our end result here. This is the line that we just did. We started right back there on that first load. That right back there is where we started, and you rode with me on that one. Here's what it looks like out of the back side of the caker. This is the litter that we have left. Now you can see there are some chunks in there still. Here it is in the tire track. This we can definitely reuse. This is what we want. These pieces, remember I showed you the grate on the front of the machine. These are the size pieces that can fall back through it. They're small enough that when the chickens step on them and claw them a little bit, they'll kind of break up. We do have this line here by the wall still. There's a lot of cake left by the wall. That's where a pulverizer or litter saver or grinder or whatever you want to call them, that's where they come into play. That's why they're offset on one side of the tractor, so you can get them all the way to the wall without having the tractor on the wall. Now we're actually not going to grind this time. What we're actually going to do is we're going to cake everything first as far as the water lines are concerned, and then we're going to windrow, and we'll get some video of windrowing too, but I just want to make this one a caking video because it's going to take long enough as that is. But I was talking with a guy named Farmer Hunt. He's also on YouTube. He's just over in Alabama, and he always cakes his houses before he windrows, and I've heard that you can't do that because you're taking the moisture out and the windrow won't heat up. He says he gets his to 135 just like they're supposed to be, and that gives me more cake to use in the composter and more cake to sell, which is always a great thing. So we're gonna cake them out, and then we're going to windrow everything, and when we windrow it will pull this cake litter that's against the wall that we normally grind. We'll take that in, put it in the windrow. So that's what our plans are. Let me get some houses caked out, and I'll show you what we do with it when we get it in the stack house. When we pile it up, it's only about waist high right now, which on me is about 3 feet, not quite 3 feet. I think I'm about 5'9", 5'10", so waist high is right at 3 feet. But we'll take the Bobcat here in a minute and we'll push it all up into a bigger pile. We can go up to 5 feet with litter, with wet litter, and still be safe as far as fire hazards are concerned. So let me get some houses caked out, and then we'll push them up in a pile. All right, we got number 6 cleaned out, or caked out. Tractor's starting to get a little bit warm, and I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, so it's about time for some lunch. But here's our pile so far. That's actually a pretty fair amount of cake to come out of one house. I didn't count the number of loads on the machine. Let's say 2 on each side. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 10 loads of cake out of the house, I guess, give or take. And you can see these posts through here in this stacked house. They are 4 feet on center, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gaps before you start to run out of a pile. So it's a 20-foot long pile of litter. Back posts, there's almost 3 of them across the base, so it's almost 12 feet at the bottom. It's several tons of litter here. I'll probably go through another house before I start pushing this pile up, but there's a lot more here than I thought there was going to be. That's a good thing, because we've got some existing customers here that are really wanting some litter on their pastures and on their hay fields. And one of the big problems we run into with that is we don't have enough to use for their use, because we use it on the farm as well in our composter. So I hate to be selfish, but the farm comes first. That's the way life is. But I'm gonna go blow the radiator out, let the tractor cool off, get me a little lunch, and we'll come back in a little while and show you something else. All right, we've got almost 3 houses done. This is our pile so far. It's time to push it up. We're kind of running out of room, and I'm afraid if I don't go ahead and do this now, there won't be enough light in here for me to film it. It's starting to get a little dark. I think it's about 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that. This is about 2.5 houses worth of litter on this side. This side over here is compost, but this side over here is litter that we've taken out today. And let me get it pushed up and show you how we do it. That one was a little more trouble than it usually is. It's not usually that hard. Of course, this litter is wetter than what we usually take out. Most of the time I let it sit in the house another day or two and dry out more. But it's usually not that hard, but we got it up. That's almost half of what we're going to get today. And that right there should be enough to make us through a flock as far as the composter is concerned. So everything we get from there from here on, that'll be litter we can sell, make a little money on, hopefully. But it's mainly just more of the same. So that's how we cake houses out. That's how we clean them up. That's how we pile up the litter. And, here you've seen everything I know to show you as far as caking out is concerned. So like, comment, subscribe, enjoy, be safe. We'll see you next time.